Welcome to Chapter 2. In this part of the course, we'll step back in time to see where modern management practices came from, and how early ideas still shape what managers do today. We'll also look at some big global trends and the role of ethics in guiding business decisions. Think of this as learning the family tree of management. Once you know the roots, you'll understand why today's practices look the way they do. By the end of this chapter, you should be able to recognize the key figures and early schools of management thought. See how those ideas set the stage for today's principles. Understand global trends that influence management. And finally, appreciate why ethics and values matter in every managerial decision. So let's begin where it all started, early management principles. More than 100 years ago, Henri Fayol, a French mining engineer, introduced 14 principles of management. What's fascinating is that many of these ideas still feel relevant today. Let's look at the first 7. The first is specialization. Workers become more productive when they focus on a limited set of tasks and get really good at them. Think about an assembly line. One person attaches doors, another paints, another tests. By narrowing tasks, efficiency skyrockets and errors decrease. The second is authority and responsibility. Fayol argued that managers must have the authority to give orders, but authority comes with responsibility. A manager can't just delegate tasks and walk away. They are accountable for the results. The third is discipline. Organizations need rules, agreements, and a shared sense of respect to function smoothly. Discipline doesn't just mean punishment, it also means clear expectations and consistent enforcement so that everyone knows what is acceptable. The fourth is unity of command. Every employee should report to just one boss. If a worker receives conflicting instructions from 2 different managers, confusion and conflict are inevitable. Unity of command avoids this problem. The fifth is unity of direction. Beyond reporting lines, the entire organization must be guided by a single coordinated plan. This ensures that all teams, departments, and individuals move toward the same overall objectives instead of working at cross purposes. The sixth is subordination of individual interest to the general interest. In simple terms, the organization's goals must take priority over personal ambitions. If one person's interest undermines the group, the whole organization suffers. And the seventh is fair compensation. Workers must be paid fairly for their contributions. Fair doesn't always mean equal pay, but it means compensation should reflect effort, skill, and contribution to the company. Underpaying leads to dissatisfaction and turnover. Overpaying without reason creates inefficiency. Together, these principles highlight Fayol's belief in structure, fairness, and coordinated effort as the foundation of effective management. Let's continue with the rest of Fayol's 14 principles. Fayol believed the degree of centralization, who gets to make decisions, should depend on how skilled workers are. In other words, give more freedom to competent employees, but keep decisions more centralized when employees are less experienced. For example, in tech companies today, senior software engineers often make design decisions themselves, while junior coders follow stricter guidance. He also emphasized the line of authority, a clear chain from top to bottom, while still allowing sideways communication if everyone's in the loop. This balance avoids confusion. Think of the military. Orders come down through ranks, but lateral coordination between units still happens. Orderliness was another principle. A clean, structured environment helps people work efficiently. This doesn't just mean physical space, it also means organized systems and processes. For instance, Amazon warehouses rely on meticulous order systems to ensure that items are picked and shipped at lightning speed. He stressed equity, treating workers with fairness and justice. That was actually quite progressive for his time. Today, companies with strong diversity, equity, and inclusion programs often see higher employee satisfaction and retention. Next is tenure and stability. Constant turnover, Fayol argued, destroys efficiency. If people keep quitting, the organization can't grow. A recent example is Twitter, now X, under Elon Musk. After his takeover in 2022, massive employee turnover disrupted operations and slowed product development. That's a real-world case of ignoring this principle. He also valued initiative. Employees should be encouraged to propose ideas, not just follow orders. Google's famous 20% time policy, which allowed employees to work on side projects, led to innovations like Gmail and Google Maps. And his last principle, esprit de corps, the spirit of the team. Harmony, morale, and teamwork lift productivity. Sports teams are a perfect metaphor. When players trust and support each other, they win more often. The same is true in companies. Even though Fayol wrote these principles over a century ago, many of them still appear in management training and leadership programs today. Now let's move to another fascinating development: time and motion studies, led by Frank and Lillian Gilbreths. They asked a simple but powerful question: what is the most efficient way to do a task? For example, Frank Gilbreths once tested how long it took him to button his vest. Starting from the top took longer. Starting from the bottom saved him 4 seconds. That might sound trivial, but if your job was to button thousands of vests every day, those seconds added up to hours of saved time. The Gilbreths filmed workers, analyzed every move, and then recommended the one best way to complete a task. Their work influenced industries from manufacturing to healthcare. But here's the catch: these approaches had serious limitations. Scientific management worked well in factories, but not in creative or knowledge-based work. You can measure how fast someone makes a burger at McDonald's, but how do you measure a software developer's creativity at Google?
In the fast-paced world of McDonald's, a worker flips burgers with precision, embodying the principles of scientific management. Every second counts, every motion is optimized for efficiency. It's all about speed and consistency, an assembly line of deliciousness. Now shift gears to a Google software engineer, immersed in a sea of creative ideas. Here, the focus is on innovation, collaboration, and problem-solving. Knowledge work thrives on flexibility and inspiration, where the best ideas can emerge from a casual chat or a brainstorming session. While one thrives on routine and repetition, the other flourishes in chaos and creativity. Both roles are vital, but they highlight the fascinating contrast between efficiency and innovation in today's workforce.
Critics also said these methods dehumanized workers, treating them like machines instead of people. Upton Sinclair's book The Jungle even criticized how efficiency gains mostly benefited companies, while workers saw little improvement in pay or quality of life. And as Charlie Chaplin cleverly showed in Modern Times, rigid efficiency can turn humans into cogs in the machine. To bring these criticisms to life, I encourage you to watch 2 clips. The first is from The Jungle, which highlights how management systems often prioritized profit over worker welfare. The second is Chaplin's Modern Times. Notice the iconic scene where Chaplin gets literally swallowed by the gears of a machine. It's a brilliant satire of scientific management's dehumanizing side. Both remind us that while early management theories boosted productivity, they also raised big ethical and human concerns we still wrestle with today. That's the end of part 1. In the next section, we'll look at how management evolved beyond these early theories.